So, 3 segments that absolutely print money for e-commerce brands. Let's get into it. I audited hundreds of Klaviyo accounts, and poor segmentation is the #1 red flag I see in them. And poor segmentation is going to result in these 3 things. So the first thing is that you're going to lose out on a ton of revenue because you're not targeting the right people. The second thing is that it'll drive up your bill, whether you're using Klaviyo or another platform, because now you have a lot of unengaged and lapsed users in your account. And the third thing is that it'll absolutely tank your deliverability, which causes more of your future emails to land either in the promotions tab or the spam folder, which is not great. And this is one of the simplest, most overlooked, lowest effort, highest results, things that you could do for your brand to generate more revenue from email SMS. So in this video, I'm going to share with you our exact copy and paste segments that we use for our clients on a daily basis. I'm also going to show you my formula for creating segments that print money. So I'm not only going to give you the fish, but also teach you how to fish, how to create these segments in the future. And last year alone, these segments have resulted or generated over 6 million in revenue for our clients. And these segments will work no matter what industry you're in or what your brand is. So it doesn't really matter. They will work for you. The third thing is I'm going to share with you the 3 toxic segments that you should exclude from every single campaign that you send. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your engagement and deliverability. And at the end, I'm also going to be sharing with you a little hack that you can use to know exactly which segment is resulting in the majority of revenue and also an engagement on your account. This is going to save you a ton of time and money. So this is the exact logic we use to create segments. So there are 3 main dimensions that we use here. The first one is going to be the behavior, and this is the exact action that the user has taken, whether it's they opened an email, clicked an email, subscribed to list, placed an order with you, initiated checkout, visited a website, or viewed a product, etc. So this is the exact behavior they have done or action they have done. The second dimension is going to be recency. So this is how long they've done it. So for example, when we combine these 2 together, let's say, for example, the behavior is going to be initiate a checkout. The recency is going to be, was it in the last 7 days? Was it in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, etc. And between these 2, the higher the behavior, the higher intent the behavior, and the smaller the recency, the more engaged the profile is going to be. For example, behavior, someone who initiated a checkout is completely different from someone who just viewed a product. One has higher intent than the other. So obviously you're going to get better engagement from someone who initiated a checkout because they have higher intent. And now, for example, let's say someone who initiated checkout today versus someone who initiated checkout last month. So these are completely different. One is a little bit warmer and the other one is colder. So when you combine these together, you can create really, really good segments. And the third one is property. So these are the properties or the custom properties that are attached to each profile on your Klaviyo account. And this could be anything from location, maybe city, country, or any custom properties that are attached to your account. Let's say, for example, you sell hair products and you asked people to select maybe what type of hair they have, what type of issues they are facing with their hair. And then you can set those custom properties on your Klaviyo account. So you can select segments. For example, you only wanted to send an email to people who have curly hair or something like that. You can do that. So these are the custom properties. And when you combine these 3 together, again, you don't have to combine all of them at the same time. Most of the time we just do behavior and recency, but sometimes we do property as well. Okay, so this is basically the segmentation logic. As I mentioned before, when you combine these, you come up with segments that you can use for your brand. And if you'd like more detailed video on how to create these segments on Klaviyo, you can click on the link in the description and you will see our free guide. So it has everything you need to do to create these segments on Klaviyo. So the second thing is going to be the segments that we target the most for our clients. And the first one is going to be engaged in the last 120 days. So this is anyone who engaged with either our email program or our website in the last 120 days. So we do typically opened an email, clicked an email, or subscribe to a list or email marketing, or visited the website, or initiate a checkout, placed an order, etc. So any action they have taken towards our email program or our website, they will be targeted here. And that would be in the last 120 days. So in the last 4 months. This is actually the main segment we use for most of our clients. And from this segment, we get a good balance between engagement and also revenue. Another segment that we like to target is customers who bought from us 2 times. So these are loyal customers who bought at least 2 times. It could be 3, 4 plus times. And And yeah, we like to target these people with some of our campaigns as well. The last one is going to be expected to place an order. So Klaviyo has this predictive analytics feature where it basically checks the data on your account from previous order history, plus the data on the behavior of that particular user. And it tells you more or less when that user is likely to place another order. So for example, we do expected to place an order in the next 30 days or 60 days. And then we like to target them with some of our campaigns to try to convert those people. So these are the three main segments that we typically include for our campaigns or for our clients' campaigns. And if you'd like a more detailed walkthrough on how we create these, again, you can just click the link in the description to download the free guide there. So the last segments that I wanted to talk about are the toxic segments that you should always exclude. We always have inclusions, so these are segments that we include, and also exclusions, segments that we exclude from our sends. These segments, if you don't exclude them, they will ruin your engagement and consequently ruin your deliverability. So the first one is going to be bounce or spam. So this is any email that bounced or any email that reported us as spam. So let's start with bounce first. So any email bounces, there are two types of bounces. There is the soft bounce and the hard bounce. So typically Klaviyo removes automatically hard bounces, but sometimes it's also good to, exclude them just in case. And what they mean, hard bounce is mainly when the email is fake or incorrect. So someone entered an incorrect email, then it's going to hard bounce. Soft bounce is more when someone has a full inbox, they can't receive emails, or maybe they are away. So let's say they have a company email and they have an auto reply saying, hey, we are on a holiday or a paternity leave or out of office or something like that. So that's where you can get soft bounces. And typically, we don't want to remove those soft bounces altogether, especially this is a little bit more relevant for B2B because for B2B, people are using a lot of, company-related emails. And if you exclude anyone who bounced because they were out of office or something like that, then they will not see your emails when they come back to office. So yeah, I would maybe exclude people who bounced at least 2 or 3 times. So we try to open it up a little bit, not just bounced once, because maybe once they were on holiday and they had an auto reply or something like that. So 2 or 3 times is good. Bounced 2 or 3 times overall time. And also spam, people who reported us as spam overall time as well. So these are people who are who we like to exclude, even if they subscribed in the future. Sometimes we prefer to, exclude these people because they already had like negative affinity with our brand at some point to the point that they reported us as spam. So yeah, it's good to just exclude these people just in case. So this is the first segment we like to exclude. The second one is going to be unengaged. So these are people who received a ton of emails from us, but they have not engaged with them at all. So yeah, let's say for example, they received 10 or 20 emails, depends on how many emails you send. 10 or 20 emails in the last 365 days, but they have not opened any of those emails. They have not clicked on any of those emails. And also they have not been active on our website in the last 365 days. So at this point, there is no point. We already sent them a ton of emails and they are not engaging with them. So we're just costing ourselves a lot of money because, our sending volume is higher. And we're also ruining our engagement and deliverability because we're sending emails to people who are not engaging with them. Maybe they are not even seeing them because they are landing in the promotions tab or maybe the spam folder. Okay, so it's always good to exclude these people. And then we sometimes like to exclude customers in the last 7 or 14 days. So and the reason why is because customers, once they bought, maybe they are in the post-purchase flow, they are being nurtured, and then maybe offering them some cross-sells there, etc., and asking them for reviews. So it's not always good to keep hammering them with more emails, asking them for the sale because they just purchased from you. So it's sometimes good to exclude them. There are obviously some exceptions. For example, when we have a big like Black Friday sale or something like that, and people typically buy like multiple times, maybe 2 or 3 times different items, or maybe items for as gifts for other people. And in that case, it's okay to include these people. But most of the time, it's good to exclude them. So now let's figure out exactly which segments are making you the most money and also generating the most engagement for your brand. So one thing I like to do for our clients is to send one campaign to multiple segments, so within each other. So for example, you see for this particular campaign, we sent it to all customers. So we targeted all customers. We also targeted all customers who bought 2 times. So this is a smaller segment within this first one. So this first one is the biggest one. And so let's call it 100% of the people that we are targeting. And then people who bought from us 2 times, then people who bought from us 3 times, because I wanted to figure out what kind of segment is generating the most of the revenue. Is it loyal customers who are buying multiple times? Is it engaged customers, so customers who bought in the past, but they are actively engaging with our email program or website? Or is it like generally like all customers, okay? And then you have all engaged customers. So these are customers who engaged with us in the last 180 days, maybe opened an email, clicked an email. They've been active on our website in the last 180 days. And then let's say same one engaged in the last 180 days without open criteria. So sometimes we like to remove open criteria because it's not as reliable as it used to be because of Apple's mail privacy feature. And yeah, email providers or email apps like Klaviyo, for example, they cannot know for sure if people are opening those emails or not. And Apple does this to protect their users' privacy. So sometimes we like to remove the open criteria to know for sure, because if someone, since we don't know if someone opened the email or not, we can gauge that based on whether they clicked or not, or maybe subscribe or been active to the website. And you can see here that the biggest segment here we sent to had 186,566 users. The open rate was 31.55, which is not that good, actually. So we try to stay above maybe 33 or 35%. The click rate is also pretty low at 0.63%. Typically, we try to stay above 1.2%. But obviously, this segment, since it's the biggest one, it has all the people. It generated the highest revenue at 22,465. Okay. Then you take a look at, let's check a segment that balances between engagement and revenue. So what we try to do here is it's like a teeter-totter. We try to generate as much revenue as possible, but also while maintaining good engagement. Because I've seen like brands who or that only try to focus on revenue and try to generate as much revenue as possible, and those brands will tank their deliverability. So they will ruin the longevity of their email program, because by trying to make as much money as possible in the basically in the shortest amount of time possible, they will be targeting a lot of unengaged users, lapsed users, etc. And that will result in lower engagement, or maybe a lot of people are going to unsubscribe, report as spam, etc. And that will also result in bad deliverability in the future. So their emails will stop landing in the main inbox, and then they basically need a few months to restore their deliverability. So this is a very, very bad practice. On the other hand, the people who care for like a lot of the vanity metrics and they want their engagement to be perfect, and they only focus on that, they will not be generating as much revenue as possible, because they will only be targeting the most engaged segments that will get the highest engagement, click rate, and open rate, but they will not generate in as much revenue because those segments are typically smaller. Okay, so ideally you'd like to balance between the two, and you will see here in this particular example for this segment here, this segment here, we sent to 48,000 people, so less than 50k people, which is less than a third, maybe like a quarter of the total we sent to here. So it's a much smaller segment. The open rate was pretty solid at 43%. Click rate is pretty good at 2.12%, and the revenue was 18,615. So even though we targeted, a third or even less than that of the people, we still pretty much generated, pretty much the same revenue we generated from this main segment here. So only 4,000 less. We haven't generated a third of what we did here. Okay, we only generated 4,000 less. So let's take a look, for example, at the last one here. It had a very good open rate, 49%. Click rate is incredibly solid at 3.87%, and the revenue we generated is 15,000. So from this one, I can tell that this segment is the best one because it has a really good balance between revenue. So it's not very far from the main segment here, and it also has really good engagement. So it's above 1.2 or 1.5% for click rate, which is the average there. We should stay above, and also it has a pretty good open rate. So we shouldn't target, for example, this one, even though it has a very smaller segment size, because it's not generating as much. So we're losing 3,000 dollars on revenue. Yes, we are getting better engagement, but we are sacrificing a little bit of revenue. So as I mentioned before, we try to balance between revenue and engagement, stay above the benchmarks in terms of engagement, and also generate as much revenue as possible. So this is the segment that I would like to target in most of our emails. And the way you do it for your brand is to send one email, for example, to 8 or 10 different segments, then wait 2 days just for the data to populate properly, and then take a look, go click on the campaign and go into audience breakdown here. And then you will see all the segments and which one is resulting in the majority of the revenue and also the highest engagement. And yeah, you can choose that, or you can choose to target that segment with your future campaigns. So there you have it. Now you know exactly how to create segments that convert. You know the 3 segments that we send or we use for most of our clients. You know the 3 toxic segments that you should exclude from your sends in order to not ruin your deliverability. And you know exactly how to know which segment is resulting not just in the majority of the revenue, but also in a really good engagement for your brand. And if you found this video helpful, you can click on the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And in terms of results, our clients generate between 35 to 50% of their total revenue from email SMS. And if you have an e-commerce brand, you can click on the link below to hop on a quick call with me. I'm happy to offer you a free in-depth audit of your program where I show you exactly what's missing, what could be improved, and how much more revenue you'll be able to generate when all of the improvements are implemented. So click below and I'll talk to you soon.